Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a B-movie review and I'll be having a look at the movie Xtinction, Predator X. So Predator X refers to a dinosaur, also known as a Pliosaur, which looks a little bit like a Pleurodon, which was renowned to be the biggest carnivore ever to sort of swim across the face of the earth on the planet. Ultimately, this was the biggest flesh-eating dinosaur that was ever around. Bigger than a T-Rex, but obviously this was an aquatic-based dinosaur. And there's been surprisingly little films about these sort of films, I would say. And it's I guess it's ripe for B-movie fodder, ultimately. A series of missing people have gone missing in this I guess, Louisiana type small sort of swamp town. And the local sheriff, played by Lachlan Monroe, can't really figure out what's going on. He's assuming, first of all, as I guess you probably would, that there's some man-eating alligator on the loose. But as it turns out, there's a mad scientist who, for no other reason than he just decides to make a dinosaur, makes ultimately a dinosaur with his backward cronies. Ultimately, what happens is there's a bit of a love triangle going on, and of course the mad scientist and this police guy both are interested in the same woman and what have you, and she ultimately gets kidnapped, blah blah. And that most of the plot is actually spent on this trying to this human merits. And this is the thing with these sci-fi films, to cut down on the budget. The monster effects of the monster story almost take second billing to the human conflict. And it happens so many times, not every time admittedly, but the majority of times in these sci-fi movies where you have a monster. And really it just makes it very, very much by the numbers. And this film is exactly that. There's no real surprises in this film whatsoever, aside from one very random sort of save right at the end, who is character comes out of nowhere, save the day, but that's the only surprise in this film. Everything else you will literally see coming. Now, I guess the main character we're supposed to believe is the sheriff. The actor's called Lachlan Monroe, but in actual fact, he doesn't really do anything. He's mowed up a tree for a good portion of the film. So I guess the actual protagonist is the woman who ultimately gets kidnapped by the bad guys, because we probably see her most on screen, and she is fairly proactive in trying to escape and whatnot. Now, as I say, the majority of the film is taken up by the I guess the human conflict. And you've got Mark Sheppard in there, who is is always watchable on screen. So it's nice to see him on there. He's an interesting guy with a lot of on-screen charisma, even though he does do a lot of these B-movie films and things like that. In regards to the actual monster itself, it's obviously a CGI effect, and I have to say the CGI here is not particularly great. I think they've made the actual design of the Predator X just a little bit cartoony looking. And I know cheap CGI looks cartoony looking anyway, but just the facial detail and stuff, it looks almost like it's a cartoon version in a way. It's a weird looking thing. It doesn't look realistic at all. And that's I guess a mix of simply bad design and just cheap special effects. Now we do see a reasonable amount of it popping up, eating people here and there, but it's never really the main focus as such. As I say, that's reserved for the human conflict, at least right until the end at least. But like I said, this is a very much a painted by the numbers sci-fi movie. I'm actually quite interested in aquatic monsters and things like that for horror movie films and things like that. So I do quite like this type of genre, but unfortunately this one doesn't really stand head and shoulders above anything else. It is literally probably a slightly below average film. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10. It's worth it if you are interested in sea monster type films, but to be honest with you, it's a slightly below average film because it really doesn't do anything new with the genre whatsoever. Leave me a comment. What did you think of it? I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.